The stars burned cold above the edge of Sector 7. A massive swarm hive ship hung in the black like a living wound. Its hull pulsed with green light. Thousands of small attack drones poured out of it in waves. They moved like angry insects, looking for something to sting. The Galactic Alliance fleet held position. Ships from 20 different species formed a wide defensive line. The Zorath cruisers glowed with blue energy shields. The tall Krellian battleships fired heavy plasma bolts that lit up the void. Smaller Valor support vessels darted between them, sending repair drones to fix damage. In the middle of the line sat the human ships, 3 heavy destroyers and a dozen fighter carriers. Their hulls were scarred from old battles, painted in dull gray and black. No fancy colors, no glowing symbols, just practical metal and guns. Inside the command bridge of the lead human destroyer, Captain Daniel Hayes stood with his arms crossed. He was not tall, but he looked solid. Short brown hair, a few days of beard. Eyes that stayed calm even when alarms screamed. He watched the main screen as swarm drones closed in. "All right, people," Daniel said into the ship-wide comm. His voice carried the slight drawl from his home state back on Earth. "Looks like the bugs want to dance again. Let's give 'em a good time." A chuckle ran through the bridge crew. Lieutenant Karen Brooks sat at tactical. She had bright red hair tied back tight and a quick smile. She tapped her console and sent targeting data to the fighters. "Got the first wave marked," Karen said. "They're coming straight at us like they're mad we exist." "Good," Daniel replied. "Means we're doing something right." Across the fleet, alien captains listened to the human channel. They had grown used to it. Humans talked a lot in battle. They made jokes. They teased each other. They shouted encouragement like it was a sports game instead of a fight for survival. Some aliens found it strange. Others found it oddly comforting. It meant the humans were still in high spirits. When humans laughed, things usually went well. The first swarm drones hit the line. Blue shields flared on the Zorath ships. Krellian guns roared. Human fighters launched in perfect formation. They twisted and rolled, cutting through the enemy like knives. "Look at that little guy try to dodge," a human pilot named Ryan Cole said over the fighter channel. "Come on, Bug. You can do better than that." Laughter answered him. Another pilot, Lisa Grant, added, "Bet I get more kills than you today, Cole." "You're on," Ryan shot back. "Loser buys the next round when we get home." The banter flowed back and forth. Even the Marines in drop pods waiting to board the hive ship joined in. "Marines, you awake down there?" Daniel called. Sergeant Mike Torres answered right away. "Wide awake, sir. Just waiting for you slowpokes and the flyboys to clear us a path." "Keep dreaming, Torres," Karen said. "We'll have the door open for you in 5. More laughter, more quick jokes. The noise filled the comms like background music to the explosions and laser fire. The aliens noticed. On the Zorath flagship, Observer Lyrak turned one of his sensory stalks toward the human feed. "They are loud again," Lyrak said to his tactical officer. The officer, a younger Zorath named Tira, clicked her mandibles. "They always are. It is how they fight. Noise keeps their minds sharp." Lyrak made a soft hum of agreement. He had studied human battle records. In almost every fight, humans talked. They shouted orders mixed with insults to the enemy and compliments to their friends. It seemed strange to a species that preferred calm silence in war. But the results were hard to argue with. Human units took risks other species avoided. They pushed harder. They won more often than statistics said they should. The battle grew hotter. Swarm drones slammed into shields. One human destroyer took a bad hit. Its port side armor buckled. Sparks flew inside the corridors. Damage control teams ran to seal the breach. "Still with us, Harper?" Daniel asked the engineering chief. Chief Petty Officer Alex Harper answered fast. "Hull's holding, Captain. Lost half the secondary power on Deck 4. Nothing we can't fix." "Good man," Daniel said. Keep her breathing. Alex laughed. She's tougher than me, sir. I'll make sure she stays that way. The chatter never stopped. It rolled on even as fighters exploded and drones burned. Humans patched wounds, reloaded guns, always talking. Then, something small changed. Karen noticed it first. She frowned at her screen. Captain, she said, swarms shifting formation. They're pulling back from the Zorath flank and pushing harder at us. Daniel leaned forward. They're learning. They know we're the weak link in their mind. Karen snorted. Weak link. Cute. Keep the pressure on, Daniel ordered. Fighters, stay tight. Marines, prep for drop in 2 minutes. The acknowledgements came quick. Copy that. Ready here. Locked and loaded. The noise stayed the same. Loud, confident, full of life. But on the ground team inside the lead Marine drop pod, Sergeant Mike Torres looked at his squad. 8 men and women in heavy armor. They checked weapons. They checked seals. They gave each other small nods. One private, young and nervous, spoke up. Sarge, you think we'll get to the Queen Chamber this time? If we don't, I'm blaming you, kid. The squad laughed. It was the same easy sound that filled every human channel. Outside, the battle raged. Swarm ships tried to ram the line. Alliance guns answered. Human destroyers pushed forward, guns blazing. The banter kept flowing. Ryan, you still alive out there? Lisa called. Barely, Ryan answered. Got a drone stuck to my tail. Little help? On it, Lisa said. Try not to die before I win the bet. More laughter. The aliens listened and felt a strange mix of worry and trust. Humans were strange, but when they laughed, the swarm usually lost. Then, slowly, the laughter began to fade. It did not stop all at once. It just grew quieter. Fewer jokes, shorter replies. The voices still answered orders, but the extra words disappeared. Karen noticed again. She glanced at Daniel. Channel's getting quiet, she said softly. He did not look surprised. On the fighter net, Ryan called out. Lisa, you still got my 6? Always, she answered. No joke followed, no teasing. In the Marine pod, Mike checked his rifle one last time. He looked at his squad. No one spoke. They just met eyes and nodded. The drop pod doors opened. Green lights flashed. The Marines launched toward the hive ship in silence. Back on the bridge, Daniel watched the tactical map. Swarm forces were breaking against the human line, but something had changed in the way his people moved. Faster, sharper, no wasted motion. Karen leaned closer. They're going quiet, Captain. Daniel gave a small smile. Not happy, not sad, just calm. Yeah, he said. They are. The human channel went completely silent. No more voices, no confirmations, no laughter. Just the steady beat of weapons fire and the soft hum of engines. In the Zorath command ship, Observer Lyrak felt his fronds tighten. Why have they stopped talking? He asked. No one answered right away. The battle continued. But now the humans fought like shadows, precise, ruthless, wordless. And somewhere deep in the Galactic Council's long memory, an old warning began to stir. When humans go quiet in combat, something has changed. The battle kept raging. Explosions lit up the dark space like short bursts of daylight. Swarm drones crashed into shields and burned away in bright flashes. Alliance ships held their positions, guns never stopping. But on the human side, the voices had gone away. Observer Lyrak stood on the bridge of the Zorath flagship. His tall, thin body swayed slightly as the ship rocked from a near miss. His sensory fronds moved slowly, tasting the air for changes. He focused on the human tactical feed. The screen showed green dots for human fighters and squads. They still moved. They still fought. But the sound channel stayed dead. Lyrak turned to Tactical Officer Tira. She sat at her station, mandibles clicking softly in worry. "Why have the humans stopped talking?" Lyrak asked. Tira checked her console again. Numbers and lines scrolled fast across her screen. "Vitals are normal," she said. "Heart rate's high but steady. Weapons fire has increased by 12%. Movement patterns are sharper. But voice traffic, zero. Not even breathing sounds." Lyrak made a low hum. "They always talk. In every battle record we have, humans fill the channels with words, orders, jokes, complaints. Now nothing." Tira looked up, her large black eyes narrowed. "Perhaps they are hurt. Maybe the comms are damaged." Lyrak shook his head. "No. Look at the overlay. The human destroyers are still coordinating perfectly. Fighters weave through drone swarms without error. Marines have breached the hive outer hull. No confusion, no panic calls for help." He pointed one long finger at the screen. A small group of green dots moved deep into the hive ship. That was Captain Daniel Hayes's Marine squad. They advanced fast. Too fast for normal caution. On the main Alliance command channel, voices from other species started to notice. His deep voice rumbled through every ship. "Human units, report status," Vorn ordered. Silence answered him. Vorn tried again. "Captain Hayes, Lieutenant Brooks, respond." Still nothing. A Valor delegate, soft-spoken and calm, added her voice. "This is unusual. Humans always acknowledge." Lyrak felt a strange tightness in his core. He had read the old files, the classified ones that few council members liked to mention. There were stories from early human contact wars, times when human soldiers stopped talking. Those battles ended quickly and badly for the enemy. He leaned closer to the screen. The human fighters flew in tight pairs now. No wild loops, no extra chatter to confuse sensors. They struck hard and moved on. Ryan Cole's fighter banked left, lasers cutting through 3 drones in one pass. Lisa Grant followed right behind, covering his tail without a word. No victory shout, no bet reminder, just clean kills. Inside the hive ship, the Marines moved like machines. Sergeant Mike Torres led the way down a dark corridor. Red emergency lights pulsed on the walls. Swarm workers scuttled ahead, trying to block the path. Mike raised his rifle. 3 quick shots, 3 dead workers. The squad behind him stepped over the bodies without pause. Private Emily Ford checked her corners. She placed a small sensor drone on the ceiling. It hummed and started mapping ahead. No one spoke. They did not need to. Hands moved in quick signs. A fist for stop, an open palm for advance. Fingers pointing for directions. Eyes met and understood. They reached a large chamber. The Queen's Guard waited there. Big, armored swarm soldiers with sharp claws and spitting acid glands. The humans did not hesitate. Mike threw a flash grenade. Bright light filled the room. The guards screamed and staggered. The squad opened fire. Precise bursts. No waste. No panic. Bodies dropped, one after another. Back on the Zorath bridge, Tira's mandibles clicked faster. "Kill ratio climbing," she said. "Humans are taking the central node. Swarm command structure is breaking." Lyrak watched the tactical map. The green dots pushed deeper. Swarm red dots faded around them. The humans did not slow. They did not celebrate. They just kept going. A junior Zorath aide stepped forward. His voice was small. "They always talk," the aide said. "This silence, it feels wrong." Lyrak agreed. It felt wrong. Not weak, not scared. Something else. Something focused. On the human lead destroyer, Captain Daniel Hayes stood with hands behind his back. He watched the same map. Karen Brooks sat beside him. Her fingers moved fast over controls, sending small adjustments to squads. No words left her mouth. Daniel glanced at her. She met his eyes. A tiny nod passed between them. That was enough. The bridge crew worked in quiet. Damage reports came in short text lines on screens. Orders went out the same way. No voice needed anymore. Outside, the swarm flagship tried one last push. It sent a wave of heavy attack ships straight at the human line. The destroyers answered with full broadsides. Missiles streaked out. Plasma cannons glowed hot. The enemy ships broke apart in fireballs. Still no cheer from the humans. No proud calls. Just the next target selected, the next shot fired. Observer Lyrak felt cold in his exoskeleton. He remembered a line from an old human text he once studied. Something about predators. When the hunt begins in earnest, the noisy warnings stop. The teeth come out. He turned to Tira. "Pull up historical data," he said. "Every recorded case where human vocal traffic dropped to 0 during active combat." Tira hesitated. "That is restricted access." "Override it," Lyrak ordered. "Council priority." The files opened. Old battles appeared. Pirate raids, where human boarding teams went silent midway. Enemy fleets found drifting with clean holes through every bridge. Ground campaigns, where whole divisions vanished in one night. In each case, the pattern was the same. Humans talked until they did not. Then the enemy died fast. Lyrak read the notes attached to one file. A human general had written it long ago. "We laugh to stay human. We joke to keep fear away. When the jokes end, we have decided. The other side does not get to walk away." Lyrak closed the file. His fronds trembled. On the screen, Daniel Hayes' squad reached the hive core. The queen chamber, massive, dark, full of pulsing eggs and guards. The humans formed up. No signal needed. They knew their places. Mike Torres placed charges on support columns. Emily Ford set up heavy weapons. The rest took cover. A single nod from Mike. The charges blew. The chamber shook. Support beams cracked. Eggs spilled and broke. The queen screamed. A high, terrible sound that carried through open comms. The humans opened fire. No battle cry. No words. Just the steady, merciless rhythm of death. In the council chamber far away, delegates watched the live feed. Whispers spread. Vorn, the Krellian captain, leaned forward. "They are dismantling the hive from the inside," he said, without a single word. A Valor elder stood slowly. "This silence," she said, "it is not retreat. It is focus. Absolute focus." Lyrak felt the truth settle in his bones. The humans had not stopped fighting. They had stopped playing. And when humans stopped playing in war, the galaxy learned to be afraid. The swarm flagship cracked open under fresh fire. Its core exposed. Human missiles found it. No victory shout followed. Just silence. The hive ship groaned under the damage. Metal walls cracked like thin ice. Green fluid leaked from broken pipes and pooled on the floors. The swarm queen still lived, but her guards lay in pieces. Human marines moved through the smoke without a sound. Sergeant Mike Torres crouched low near the chamber entrance. His rifle stayed steady. He scanned left and right. Private Emily Ford knelt beside him. She attached a final explosive pack to the queen's egg chamber wall. Her hands worked fast and sure. No shake, no whisper. Mike raised 2 fingers. "Advance." The squad slipped forward in pairs. They stepped over dead swarm bodies. Boots made soft thuds on the wet floor. No one spoke. Eyes and small hand signals did all the talking. Outside in space, the battle still burned. Alliance ships traded fire with the last swarm defenders. But the real fight happened inside the hive. The humans had reached the heart. On the Zorath flagship bridge, Observer Lyrak stared at the live feed. The camera drone followed the Marines from above. It showed every move in sharp detail. "They move like one body," Lyrak said, His voice stayed low. Tactical Officer Tira nodded. No wasted steps, no hesitation. Look at their formation. Perfect overlap of fire lanes. They cover each other without words. The screen zoomed in. Mike placed a shaped charge on a thick support beam. Emily wired it in seconds. Another Marine, Corporal Nathan Lee, set up a heavy machine gun on a tripod. He checked the ammo belt once. Then he waited. A swarm counterattack came. Dozens of worker drones poured through side tunnels. They hissed and spat acid. The humans did not flinch. Nathan opened fire first. The gun roared. Shells flew in a steady stream. Drones exploded into wet chunks. Mike and Emily flanked left. Their rifles barked short bursts. Each shot found a head or joint. No spray and pray, just clean kills. The last drone fell. Silence returned inside the chamber. The humans checked their weapons, reloaded, moved on. Still no words. Lerock felt his fronds curl tight. They are not just fighting, he said. They are erasing. Back on the human destroyer bridge, Captain Daniel Hayes watched the same feed. His face showed nothing. Lieutenant Karen Brooks sat next to him. She adjusted a few drone feeds with quick taps. Her eyes stayed sharp. Daniel spoke once, very quiet. Charges ready? Karen nodded. 30 seconds to full collapse. That was all. The tactical map changed fast. Red swarm dots around the core started to vanish, one by one, then in groups. The humans pushed deeper. They sealed tunnels behind them with small demo packs. No way back for the enemy. No escape. A junior Zorath aide stepped closer to Lerock. Should we ask them what they need? Medical? Extra support? Lerock shook his head hard. Do not break their silence. Not now. The aide looked confused. But why? Because, Lerock said, this is not the time for questions. This is the time they finish what they started. In the council viewing chamber far away, more delegates gathered. Screens showed every angle of the battle. Krellian Captain Vorn stood with arms folded. His heavy scales clicked when he moved. The sworn flagship is breaking apart, Vorn said. Human missiles found the reactor. But the ground team, they still push. A Valor elder, wise and gentle, spoke next. I have watched many wars. Never have I seen fighters so calm, so complete. Another delegate, a thin insectoid from the Myron Collective, tilted his head. Humans are known for emotion, for noise. This is something else. Vorn grunted. It is what happens when they stop holding back. The feed showed the final push. Mike Torres led his squad to the Queen's throne platform. The Queen towered above them. Her body pulsed with rage. She screamed again. The sound hurt even through speakers. The humans answered with action, not words. Emily fired a rocket launcher. The warhead struck the Queen's side. Flesh burned. The Queen thrashed. Nathan's machine gun kept pouring fire. Mike threw 2 grenades. They landed perfect. Explosions ripped through her legs. The Queen fell. Her massive body crashed down. Eggs cracked under her weight. The chamber shook hard. Mike walked forward. He raised his rifle to her head. One last shot. Clean. Final. The Queen stopped moving. For a moment, the feed showed only smoke and quiet Marines. They stood around the body, checked for threats, secured the area. No high fives, no cheers, just work. Then the explosives timed out. The support beams gave way. The chamber ceiling collapsed in slow motion. Tons of metal and rock fell. It buried the Queen chamber. It buried the last swarm resistance inside the ship. The tactical map flashed. Core node destroyed. Swarm command gone. Alliance ships felt the change. Swarm drones stopped attacking. They drifted, confused, leaderless. Human fighters pulled back to formation. No victory rolls, no radio calls, just clean retreat to carriers. On the Zoroth bridge, Tira looked at Lyrak. "Human casualties," she said. 3 wounded, none dead. They took the hive with almost no loss. Lyrak exhaled slowly, because they focused completely. The council chamber filled with low voices. Delegates spoke in many languages, worry mixed with awe. Vorn broke the quiet. "We must understand this. Humans fight in 2 modes, the loud one we know, the quiet one we fear." The Valor elder nodded. "The loud one is them being human. The quiet one is them being something more." The battle was over. The swarm broken, but the feeling stayed. He remembered old warnings in council archives, notes from first contact. Human officers had said it plain. "We talk to remind ourselves we are people. When we stop talking, we become the weapon." Lyrak looked at his fellow officers. "This silence," he said, "it is not the end of the fight. It is the part where the fight becomes certain." Outside, the stars stayed cold. The human ships pulled back into line. Their lights dimmed for damage repair. No one hailed them yet. No one dared. The quiet lingered. And every alien who watched knew one thing now. When humans go quiet, the enemy does not get a second chance. The galaxy had just seen why. The battle ended fast after the Queen died. The swarm flagship split open like rotten fruit. Fire bloomed from its core. Chunks of hull drifted away in slow spins. The remaining drones stopped moving. They floated dead in space. No more attacks. No more screams over open channels. Alliance ships held position. Their guns cooled. Repair teams launched to fix damage. Fighters returned to carriers in neat lines. The humans did the same. Their destroyers pulled back without fanfare. No victory formation flybys. No lights flashing in celebration. On the Zorath flagship bridge, observer Lyrak watched the final scans. The tactical map showed green human dots pulling out of the hive wreck. They moved in perfect order. No stragglers. No confusion. "Human forces report mission complete," a comms officer announced. The voice came from the human liaison channel. It was the first sound from them in hours. Captain Daniel Hayes spoke next. His tone stayed flat and calm. "Objective secured. Swarm neutralized. Awaiting further orders." That was it. No details. No pride. Just facts. The council viewing chamber exploded with questions. Delegates from every species leaned forward. Voices overlapped in many languages. "What happened to the chatter?" one asked. "Why the long silence?" another demanded. "How did they do it with so few losses?" a third added. A human liaison officer stepped into the feed. Major Stephen Grant looked tired but steady. He wore the standard gray uniform. No medals shining, just practical cloth. Major Grant cleared his throat. "I will explain." He paused. Every eye in the chamber locked on him. "Humans talk in combat for a reason," he began. "We joke, we tease, we shout. It keeps us connected. It keeps fear at bay. It reminds us we are still people, not just killers. The noise is a shield. It protects our minds." He looked straight at the camera. But when the jokes stop, when the voices go quiet, something changes. We have made a decision. The enemy no longer deserves mercy. The fight is no longer a game. It becomes simple. They die, we live. That is all. Silence filled the chamber. Even the machines seemed to hold their breath. Major Grant continued. "You have seen old records. Pirate fleets found empty. Crews gone. Ships intact but silent. Boarding teams that cleared entire stations in minutes. Ground battles where enemy lines broke overnight. In every case, the pattern is the same. Humans talked until they did not. Then, the killing became total." He pointed to the tactical replay on screen. It showed the Marines moving through the hive. Wordless, ruthless, efficient. That silence you heard today, he said, was not weakness. It was the moment we stopped holding back. We stopped being loud to stay human. We became the weapon we trained to be. Delegate Vorn, the big Krellian captain, spoke up. His voice rumbled low. So the noise is restraint? Major Grant nodded once. Exactly. We are loud because we choose to be. When we go quiet, we choose not to be. And that choice ends things quickly. The Valor Elder stood slowly. Her soft voice carried weight. We thought the laughter meant confidence. We were wrong. It meant control. The silence means the control is gone. Major Grant gave a small, tired smile. Not gone. Redirected. Focused. When we stop playing, the enemy has no more time. Lirok felt the words settle deep. He looked at the screen again. The human ships now sat quiet. Lights dim. Crews probably already cleaning weapons and patching armor. Like nothing special had happened. But something special had. Reports kept coming in. From past fights. From survivors of battles where humans went quiet. One old file showed a pirate fleet of 30 ships. They attacked a human colony transport. The humans fought back hard at first. Shouts filled the channels. Jokes about bad aim. Then silence. Hours later, the pirate ships drifted. Every bridge hit with surgical precision. Crews dead. No prisoners, no survivors. Another report. A ground war on a jungle world. Enemy forces outnumbered the humans 3-1. Humans laughed over comms for the first day, then quiet. By morning, the enemy camp was empty. Bodies arranged in neat rows, weapons gone. Not one human lost. The pattern repeated. Loud humans dangerous. Quiet humans final. In the council chamber, delegates whispered. Some looked afraid. Others looked thoughtful. A few looked respectful. Vorn spoke again. We need to change how we fight beside them. The Valor Elder agreed. We must prepare, not for their noise, for their silence. Lirok turned to Tira. Pull every human combat log we have access to. Cross-reference vocal drop-offs with battle outcomes. Tira nodded. Her fingers flew over the console. Data streamed in. The results appeared fast. In 97% of cases where human voice traffic fell to 0, the enemy force was destroyed or routed within 1 standard hour. Casualties on the human side dropped below 5%. Enemy casualties rose above 80. Lirok stared at the numbers. They become unstoppable, he said quietly. Tira looked up. Or inevitable. Back on the human destroyer, Daniel Hayes sat in his ready room. Karen Brooks stood across from him. She held 2 cups of coffee. Real beans, not synth. Daniel took one. Good work today. Karen nodded. You too. They sipped in silence for a moment. Then Karen spoke. They are scared of us now. Daniel looked out the small viewport. Stars moved slow. They should be, he said. We give them warnings with our noise. When the warnings stop, it's too late. Karen gave a small laugh, the first real one since the silence began. Back to normal tomorrow? Daniel smiled. Just a little. Yeah. Jokes. Bets. The usual. Karen raised her cup. To staying human. Daniel touched his cup to hers. To staying human. Outside, the fleet began to disperse. Ships jumped to hyperspace, one by one. The humans left last. Their engines glowed steady and calm. In the council archives, a new file opened. Classified. High priority. Title: Human Silence Protocol. It described the change, the drop in vocal activity, the spike in lethality. Recommendations followed. Immediate alert to all allied commands. When human channels go quiet in combat, assume maximum threat level. Prepare reinforcements. Clear civilian zones. Stand by for rapid enemy collapse. And one final note, written in plain text. Never provoke the silence. Never mistake it for defeat. When humans go quiet, the war is already over. They just have not told the enemy yet. Weeks passed after the swarm defeat. The Galactic Council Hall looked the same as always. Tall crystal walls glowed soft blue. Seats rose in circles for every species. Delegates sat in their places. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had none of those things. Today the air felt heavier than usual. The session opened with a single line on the main screen. Emergency motion. Topic: Human Combat Silence Protocol. Delegate Vorn from the Krell stood first. His big body filled the speaking platform. His voice rolled out deep and clear. "We all saw what happened in Sector 7, he said. The humans fought like normal at first. They laughed. They talked. Then they stopped. And the swarm died. Fast. Clean. Total." He looked around the chamber. "That silence changed everything. We need rules for it. We need to know what to do when it happens again." Murmurs spread through the seats. Heads nodded. Eyes blinked in different ways. Observer Lurak rose next. He stood tall and thin. His voice stayed calm. "I propose a new alert system," he said. "Simple levels. Green means humans are normal, talking, joking. Yellow means their voices drop low, fewer words. Red means complete silence in combat. No voices at all." He paused. "When the alert goes red, every ship and station acts fast. Send extra fighters. Clear escape paths for civilians. Ready medical teams. Not for humans, for anyone near them." A soft laugh came from the human section. Major Stephen Grant sat there. He raised a hand. "With respect," he said, "the medical teams will not be busy because of us." The chamber went quiet. Major Grant continued, "We take care of our own, but when we go quiet, things get intense around us. Other forces sometimes get caught in the middle. Better to warn them." Vorn nodded. "Exactly. We protect our people, and we respect what humans become in silence." The Valor Elder spoke from her low seat. Her voice sounded like wind through leaves. "This is not fear," she said. "This is wisdom. Humans give us signs. Their noise is a sign they still hold back. Their silence is a sign they do not. We must listen to that sign." More delegates stood, one after another. They spoke of old battles, times when human units went quiet and enemies vanished, times when loud humans saved the day with clever tricks, times when quiet humans ended wars in hours. A Myran delegate clicked his wings. "We once lost 3 cruisers in a boarding action. Humans went in loud, then quiet. When they came out, the enemy ship was theirs. No one left alive on the other side. We thought it was luck. Now we know better." The vote came quick. Hands, claws, tentacles rose. The motion passed, unanimous. The screen updated. New protocol active. Name: Human Silence Protocol. Levels appeared. Green: normal human vocal activity. Continue standard operations. Yellow: reduced vocal traffic. Increase readiness. Monitor closely. Red: zero vocal traffic in active combat. Maximum alert. Reinforce position. Evacuate non-combatants. Prepare for rapid enemy disintegration. A small classified note blinked at the bottom. Do not interrupt human silence. Do not question it. Do not assume it means retreat or defeat. Assume it means the end is near, for someone else. The council moved to other business, but the feeling stayed. Every delegate carried it home. Months later, a small pirate fleet tried its luck near a trade route. They hit a human supply convoy. At first, the humans answered loud. Jokes flew over open channels, taunts at the pirates, bets on who would get the most kills. They thought humans were weak for talking so much. Then the human channel went quiet. The pirates kept attacking. They closed in. Alliance scouts watched from far away. They saw the alert flash red on their screens. They pulled back, fast. Hours later, the pirate ships stopped transmitting. Scans showed them drifting, engines cold, hulls intact, crews gone. No distress calls, no explosions, just silence. Word spread through the fleets. The protocol worked. Everyone knew what red meant now. On Earth, in a small base on the coast, Captain Daniel Hayes sat on a bench. He looked at the ocean. Waves rolled in slow and steady. Lieutenant Karen Brooks sat beside him. She held 2 cold drinks. "Still think about that day?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "Every time we ship out." Karen handed him a drink. "They made a whole rule because of us." Daniel took a sip. "Not because of us, because of what we can do when we stop pretending war is fun." Karen looked out at the water. "We go back to being loud tomorrow. New mission, new bugs to fight." Daniel smiled a little. "Good. I like the noise. Keeps things human." They sat quiet for a while. The sun went down. Stars came out. Far above, in the black, Alliance ships patrolled. Sensors listened for human voices in battle. When the voices stayed loud, everyone relaxed. When the voices dropped, yellow lights blinked. When the voices stopped, red lights flashed, and everyone moved careful. The protocol became part of doctrine. Like gravity, like oxygen. No one questioned it, because the galaxy had learned one hard truth. Humans were always dangerous, but when they laughed and joked, they chose to be kind about it. When they went quiet, kindness ended, and the quiet always came before the storm. In council records, a final note stayed sealed. When humans go quiet in combat, the galaxy holds its breath, not because we fear them, because we respect what they become. The predators have stopped warning their prey. The hunt is on, and it ends one way. Daniel and Karen finished their drinks. They stood, they walked back inside. Tomorrow they would ship out again. Tomorrow the jokes would start, the bets, the shouts. But deep down, everyone knew. The silence waited, patient, ready. And when it came, the stars themselves seemed to listen.